So Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through him who strengthens me." This is somewhat of a popular verse, but contrary to popular opinion, the Apostle Paul, who wrote that, was not talking about how we should focus on all that we are able to do and we can overcome obstacles and we can achieve our dreams and do all things through Christ who strengthens me, but rather it's talking about how he faced all sorts of circumstances, the good and the bad, and that he was able to do that with contentment through Christ who strengthens him. And so the whole context of that passage really reveals that intent behind that verse. And it's a message, I think, that's especially important now, as many of our schedules and plans have been disrupted, as the COVID-19 coronavirus has caused a lot of havoc for a number of reasons. And we might be easily discontent, frustrated, and even take out some of that frustration as we're cooped up with our families at home or at work, some people having a lot of work to do right now and other people being out of work. But whatever those circumstances, to see the example of Paul, who had been through a lot. He's not writing this from a position of an ivory tower, but from prison, from being through a lot. And he says the secret of facing abundance as well as need is that he has learned in all situations to be content. And he was able to be content. He had this power, this ability through Christ who strengthens him. It was of grace. It was something that he had learned, so it means that it's something that he learned through trials. As James 1 says, that the testing of our faith through trials is something that produces steadfastness. It's like the trials are like a plow which plows through the soil, which is like faith, which results in crops, and the crops is contentment. Contentment is something that is learned through time and produced in us by God's grace, through Christ as he works in us endurance and hope. And this helps us to be steadfast in the midst of all sorts of circumstances, not to be blown away by the prosperity that we have, but neither to be discouraged and disheartened when it comes to difficult times or times that we did not expect. In fact, if you look in verse 9 of that chapter, Paul says that he's explaining his own situation, that he's able to do all things through Christ who strengthens him, that he has learned this for our benefit, that we might imitate him. He says, what you've seen in me, go ahead and practice this, and the God of peace will be with you. So let's take a look at what Paul had learned through his discipleship with Christ, to be content in all circumstances, and knowing that this is the way of Christ and the way in which we will know the God of peace as well as the peace of God.